And we are live. Happy Winning Wednesday, everyone. It's Sonia.
And Jeannie, hi.
We have
I'm
missed you guys.
excited.
It's been 2 weeks. I think summer just I don't know. I feel like everything happens during those 3 months. So we really did miss being here. I was like, gosh, Jeannie, it's been forever, but it's only been 2 weeks. So we are back with a really exciting beginning to a series of awesome information all about inflammation. It is a huge buzzword for due reason because it is relevant in everything related to your health. So, we're going to get into some good information here today. But first and foremost, if you are here live with us, let us know you are here. Say hello. Let us know where you're watching from because we are live on all platforms on Facebook, on let's see here, YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, we're all over the place. So let us know where you are, when you're watching this, and what platform you're on. And if you're going to catch this on the replay, let us know that you're here on the replay as well so we can make sure to say hello to you. All right, so Jeannie, let's get into this big topic of inflammation. So tell me, obviously there are different types of inflammation. There are, that sort of acute inflammation. For example, the other night I was doing something, I was dermaplaning my face, getting all the peach fuzz off. And I decided to dermaplane my finger. And I ended up with a big, huge gash on my thumb.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I didn't need to go get stitches or anything like that. But acute inflammation set in because now my thumb is healing, right? So inflammation can be acute and it can be a good thing. And that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about that chronic or systemic inflammation. How does it happen? How did we get here? And then as we progress over the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about things that you can do to become less inflamed or reverse some of that inflammation so that you don't end up developing chronic disease. So, Jeannie, what are your thoughts? Tell me a little bit about your definition of chronic inflammation. What does that mean to you?
So, inflammation is caused by chronic conditions. So, things like obesity, chronic stress, disruptive sleep, you know, um, diabetes, like all of these things, not eating healthy. To me, it's a disruption in the way your body functions at a healthy level. And now it has to deal with whatever that stimuli is, if that makes sense. So, for example, if you're chronically stressed, now it has to deal with that, because there's hormones involved and everything is off track rather than focusing on, keeping you at a healthy level. Now it's got to deal with the stress and the hormones and all those things. So to me, that's what inflammation is. It's your body's response to something that's happened internally, and it's like running to take care of it.
It's like putting out a fire, right?
Mhm.
So sounding the alarm bells, we got to go put out a fire over here.
Yep.
And some would even go as far to say that inflammation, and again, it can be caused by many things. We'll talk about some of those things that can cause it, but inflammation is truly at the core of every chronic disease. There isn't really anything that does not have an inflammatory process. So when you think about it from that perspective, when we talk about prevention and preventing, chronic conditions of any sort, we want to look at what are those things that could be inflaming the body internally. And you're not going to necessarily feel the inflammation. You might feel, for example, if it's in your joints, you might feel inflamed joints, or some people would term that arthritis. But arthritis doesn't just fall out of the sky. There's a root cause. There's a root cause for everything. And so we're going to talk today primarily about some of those causes of inflammation, chronic inflammation, not cutting yourself with a dermaplane, but chronic systemic inflammation. And then as we go through these next few weeks, we're going to give you some practical solutions, things that we've done, tried, true, tested, things that you can do to reverse inflammation or prevent any of these types of things from becoming a big deal. So when I think of inflammation, I think about toxicity. I think about Jeannie mentioned a couple of the others that, obviously being diet, stress, lack of sleep. I also think of toxicity being a really big one. As someone who is currently healing from mold toxicity, the proof was in the pudding that I had a lot of chronic inflammation when I looked at my blood work. I was like, whoa, things off the charts that never were an issue before because I was so ridden with mold toxins in my body that I had no idea. But other toxins were exposed to things like glyphosate on the soil that on your front yard or on the farm fields or all of the foods and things that are sprayed with not only glyphosate but other herbicides, pesticides, unhealthy things that, you know, 50, 75 years ago were not an issue, right? So all of these chemicals and things in our world, in the air we're breathing, in the food we're eating, and even the water we're drinking, the shower head that, if we don't filter our shower water, I mean, all of these things, these chemicals that are getting into our system can cause a tremendous amount of inflammation. And somebody might say, well, what does mold toxins have to do with diabetes and elevation in blood sugar and, of course, insulin resistance and so hormones going sideways and all these things? When the body starts to become inflamed, the immune system gets knocked offline. It's kind of running in different directions trying to figure out what's going on and how do I fix this problem over here, put out that fire. Oh, there's another one over there. It's like the foreign invaders are all over the place, right?
Mhm.
So really what we can do to control inflammation is to realize what those things are that cause it and then proactively take some steps to make sure that we're uninflaming ourselves essentially. So, as a practical example, I am detoxing from mold as we speak. Well, there's a whole protocol, and I'm not going to go into all of that, but it's helping my body to remove those toxins and lessen the inflammatory load.
Mm.
Let's see, we talked about sleep, stress, food, right? So,
Mhm.
food choices. We can make good choices, we can make bad choices. But even sometimes good foods can be inflammatory to you or I, but they may not be inflammatory to your neighbor. So knowing whether or not you have food intolerances or things that you're maybe allergic to, that can cause a lot of systemic inflammation as well. So there are a lot of different causes.
Mm.
Pharmaceutical drugs, taking too many of those. And again, we're not here to tell you to stop taking your medications,
Mhm.
but it's putting a physical stressor on your body that is a band-aid for whatever the condition is that you're dealing with.
Right.
And so when you really sit back and think about it, there's a lot of things that play into this pot. It's like a big soup of, I mean, many, many ingredients.
Right.
So as we go through these next couple weeks, we're going to sort of pick apart these different topics and talk about some of the things that are inflaming you that you may not know about, but also what to do about it, right? We don't want to just give you information. We want to give you some things to be some actionable items to be able to fix that inflammatory problem. So, what I would love to talk about today, Jeannie, is I mean, there's a lot of buzzword going on, a lot of talk going on about gut health, but what does that really mean, right? So, the gut is mission control for your immune system. Over 70% of your immune system is found within that very long highway of your GI tract. So, when we're dealing with inflammation, most of the time you got an inflamed gut too.
Mm.
And so we thought that would be a really great place to start talking about some of the things that you can do to help decrease inflammation in your gut. Because when your gut's healthy, your skin glows, your
Mhm.
hair grows, and I made a rhyme. Skin, skin glows and hair grows,
There
right?
you go.
Right. So when your gut is functioning optimally, things just work better. You process
Mhm.
and detox hormones better, you sleep better. I mean, I could go on all day. So, what are some of the things that you like to do, Jeannie, to keep your gut healthy?
Primarily, I drink kombucha every day. I do a 5-day reset. I tried well, the last one I did was 3 weeks ago, and I have not done it in a while, but my goal is to do it once a month because I know that'll help with, the inflammation. Um, what else do I do? Uh, I eat lots of fruits and vegetables. So I think that's really important. That is usually like the first thing I think about is what kind of vegetable am I a lot of my meals are vegetarian, so I do get a lot of legumes and fruits and vegetables. And then again, like I mentioned the kombucha. I make sure that it's like a low sugar kombucha that I drink because there's a lot of ones out there that, they say they're kombucha, but they're loaded with sugar. So
Mm.
I really do that. What else do I do? I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Use any
I'm sure that
supplements? Use
say
any
again?
supplements? Do you use any
Oh,
supplements for gut health?
yes, I do. I take a Trebiotic, which is an all-in-one probiotic. Basically, it's the pre, the pro, and the postbiotic. I think that's really good because it's the all-in-one, so it provides you with everything that you need to support your gut, the microbiome. And what else do I do? The collagen, which is part of that as well. Definitely, I take that every single day. I do so many things that to kind of recall it from my brain is so hard because I've devised the plan as I went. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing this, this, and that, and it's so automatic now that I don't even remember half the stuff I do anymore. It's just habitual.
Well, I love that because that's where you want to get these things to, right? This is
Mhm.
not a do it once in a while. This is a daily habit sort of thing so that you don't end up with a whole lot of chronic inflammation. So, really taking care of your gut. And what I heard you say, kind of to summarize all that, is a lot of diversity and colorful foods,
Mhm.
which, and sometimes as I say this, not everybody is created equal. So when people ask me, well, what's a perfect diet? Well, there is no one size fits all. And as a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and certified diabetes educator, I have preached that my entire career. There is not one
Mhm.
thing. Jeannie's diet looks slightly different than mine.
Yeah.
But there's one theme with very few exceptions that I would say every single diet that has been studied, tested, tried and true includes a lot of diversity and color. Now, that being said, there may be some things that irritate your gut. You may have some food intolerances, and those can be healthy foods as well too. So we're giving you general information, but if you feel like, oh, whenever I eat spinach, I'm just using this as an example. There's nothing wrong with spinach, but as an example, it is a higher what we call histamine food. So if somebody has a lot of allergies, or when I was going through the deepest, darkest part of my mold toxicity journey, I had a lot of histamine intolerance. So even healthy foods weren't necessarily healthy for me. They were inflaming my body. So spinach was one of those foods that was inflaming my body. That doesn't mean spinach is a bad food. It meant that for the amount of inflammation I was dealing with, and in that moment in time, spinach was not a good choice for me. So there's always going to be some self discovery. You can do food sensitivity testing. Most of the time, you can just do an elimination diet.
Mhm.
And if you suspect things might be causing you distress, you can pull them out of your diet. So, always starting with the colorful diversity, whatever that looks like for you, making sure that you do have a good pre, pro, and postbiotic on board. Now, there are some people that can't take prebiotics just because they have a lot of irritation in their gut from them. So they can't do the fermented foods and all of those things because that inflames their gut. But for the majority of people, those types of things only enhance gut health,
Mm.
which reduces inflammation. Collagen,
Yeah.
people think about collagen, and I'm going to rant and rabbit trail for a minute here because if you guys know anything about me, you know I'm obsessed with collagen for due reason. And it's not just because it's taken 10 years off of my face without Botox fillers, cosmetic procedures, or any of those things. But this stuff is super healthy for the gut lining. Most people don't realize that. But
Mhm.
as we get older, our levels of collagen begin to decline, what we produce naturally. And so we suffer a lot of those signs of aging. And that can be a weakened immune system. Guess what happens then? More inflammation, right? It can be arthritis in the joints, Guess what happens then? More inflammation, right? So a lot of it can be caused by a collagen deficiency. So replacing the collagen with a bioidentical product, which is why we only talk about this product. I don't Somebody sent me some information today about what do you think about this liquid collagen? And I was like, do you really want my opinion? They are not all created equal. Most of them are manufactured collagen supplements, and it's like taking a square peg and trying to fit it into a round hole. This is like putting a round hole in a round hole.
Mhm.
So tremendous anti-inflammatory benefits, also a lot of superfoods and things that are added to the product that help to decrease your inflammatory load, which is so beneficial. What other supplements? Do you take any other supplements for reducing inflammation?
Uh, I'm trying to think. I do take digestive enzymes.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, what else? I take a slew of supplements. I take the Phyto Greens,
Mhm.
Phyto Reds. Right now I have the Phyto Reds on me.
Okay.
But I do both. And I do mix them up with the Revitalize, which also has the trace minerals in there. Yeah, so the phytos, they have the greens in there, and if you do the phyto reds, there's vegetables or fruits in there as well. Um, yeah, so that's what I do.
So a lot of phytonutrients that support
Phytonutrients. Yeah.
what's probably missing from most of our diets because we're
Mhm.
not perfect. You know,
Yeah.
find me one person, and even as a dietitian, I can say I don't eat 9 to 12 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. I'd be eating all day long, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to pick and choose those battles, and that's why supplements can be very beneficial because they can
Mhm.
fill the nutrient gaps
Yeah.
with what's missing, right? So I
Mhm.
believe using a whole food supplement like what Jeannie was just showing is a lot more beneficial than swallowing a multivitamin that
Mhm.
has a lot of stuff in it, but not enough of anything to really make an impact.
Right.
Plus, you have obviously differences in absorption with different pills. I mean, there's a lot that goes into a supplement, but a whole food supplement like Jeannie just shared, or a liquid supplement like collagen is going to
Mhm.
be much better absorbed, and your body is going to retain those benefits a lot easier
Mhm.
because of that. So I think that's super powerful. The other thing I do in terms of supplements is I use a high dose fish oil. I use cod liver oil. It's a liquid,
Oh, yeah.
but you can use, pills, whatever works for you. But
Mhm.
cod liver oil, lemon flavored. I accidentally ordered the kind without the lemon this time, so I'm tasting fish right now. But I digress because normally I order the kind that has the lemon in it, and then you can't use it. But cod liver oil is really good, but fats are very anti-inflammatory. So it
Mhm.
always starts, in my mind, in the gut, and
Mhm.
what feeds your gut? The food, right? So
Right.
making sure you're having good food choices, and we'll elaborate a little bit more on healthy foods because it's a big topic. It's not just do
Mhm.
this one thing and you're going to reduce your inflammation, or if
Right.
you eat a mango every day, your inflammation is going to go away,
Not gonna work.
right? But supplements can play
Yeah.
a very integral role, but it's
Yeah.
discovering what your sources of inflammation are,
Mhm.
where are those toxins coming from in your world, what are you stressed about, what can you change in your life
Mm.
to decrease inflammation. And a lot of it starts with our food, with our gut health, and
Mhm.
with the supplements that we take. Those are very easy things to control without
Yeah.
spending thousands of dollars, and you can make
Mhm.
a big impact.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and even if you don't buy all of these supplements, you can get some flaxseed. Flax seeds are very beneficial with omega-3, right? And you can also do vitamin D3. I do vitamin D3. Um, but also you can look at just reducing the amount of processed foods you eat. I think that's a huge, huge impact on our inflammation in the body. If you just like literally shop, I know everyone's heard this, but it's true. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store and avoid the middle sections, maybe getting your dry, legumes and things like that. But I think that's toxic. Like packaged cereals and all those like Oh, don't even get me down that road. I just, there's a few items that they're doing a better job these days where you look at the ingredient list and it's very simple. But I personally, like if I see 10 million ingredients I cannot read, it goes back on the shelf.
Mhm. Yeah, and no longer can you just read the macronutrients on the nutrition label, right? So, back in the 90s, we were educated that the only thing that mattered was, and I went to school for this,
Mm,
the thing that mattered the most was the macronutrients. It's actually the
interesting.
micronutrients and the ingredients in your food,
Yes.
because singular foods are not what people are eating these days.
Yeah.
And an apple is an apple. And unfortunately, not even all apples are created equal these days. It used to just be an apple. Now
Mhm,
you have to make sure it's non GMO. You have to make sure it's organic.
mhm.
I mean, there's so many things you have to look for. So you have to look beyond the label,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. And so we'll talk more about food next
Yeah.
week. I think that would
Yeah.
be a good place to start. But
Mhm,
to kind of summarize this conversation today, I think it's fair to say that number one, inflammation is
mm,
two things. It's acute, and we need acute inflammation to fix the boo boo.
mhm,
But this chronic inflammation that we're talking about, there are so many factors that go into that melting pot of things that cause it. That's the stuff that's making us sick. At the root of every chronic disease, find me one that does not have an inflammatory component. I've not found one. Autoimmune conditions, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, stroke. I could go on all day. All
mm,
have an inflammatory component. So if you can control the amount of inflammation in your body,
mhm.
you can reduce your risk for all of these things.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to land the plane for today. I want you guys to
Mhm,
think about the things in your world that are inflaming your body, because your ouchy joints didn't just happen overnight.
mhm.
Something caused them to be ouchy. Your hair didn't just start falling out overnight.
Yeah.
Something is triggering that. Your gut didn't just start being bloated overnight. Something is triggering that.
Yeah.
So you see how this all fits together. It's a it's a very big, big topic, which is
Mhm.
why I think we're going to take several weeks to talk about all these different things. But at the end of it all, I know you guys are going to have so many tools to walk away from and make some really practical changes in your life
Mhm.
to make a huge difference in your health. So awesome. Anything else you wanted to add before we close up today, Jeannie?
Yeah, I love that you mentioned how the gut health or your gut microbiome can help to support and decrease the inflammation throughout the body. And the way you talked about collagen helps with all of the things you just mentioned, the joint, uh, not just skin, but joint, hair. You just mentioned hair and the gut, the lining of the gut, right? So I love that. And I think you wanted to share something about
I
our
almost forgot the most
collagen.
important part.
Yeah.
So guys, all right, I'm gonna rabbit trail for a second. So I've been doing this 5-day metabolic reset, and we're gonna talk about that probably next week, because then I'll have some results to share with you guys.
Yeah.
But it's day 3, and it can make you, as you transition into that ketosis, it can make you a little bit fuzzy headed. So thankfully, Jeannie has a brain today. Remember the most important
Hey, yes.
thing. So tell us about this awesome promotion.
So it ends tomorrow is the last day, but we have, and unfortunately, I do not have the individual packs, but Sonia has the bottle, but the individual packs are the liquid collagen. So you can take it on the go if you go on vacation. So easy. But you buy one and you get one at, what is it, Sonia? Is it 50
Free. Buy one, get one free.
free? Oh my gosh. Free 99. I love it.
Promo. Yeah, free
Yes. So it's
99. Yes.
yes,
Buy
there
one,
you
get one
go.
free. So basically, like, you have your travel collagen to take with you, and you
Mhm.
only had to pay for one box. You get the other one for free and free shipping.
Amazing.
So that's really
Whoa, that's amazing.
cool.
I love it.
Yes, yes. So if you guys are interested in the promo, just drop promo down in the comments, or you can reach out to either one of us. We'll make sure to
Mhm.
fill in the blanks with anything that we missed today. But It's definitely an anti-inflammatory product, so we thought we would give it some honorable mention today. So if you guys are looking for that information, just let us know. We'll get that to you. And if not, that's okay too. And we'll see you guys live for Winning Wednesday next week. Thanks for being with me, Jeannie. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.